Hello, my dear friends. Operator.starsky here. Oh my God, I have so much coffee today. It's impossible. Hello, Katie. Hello, everyone else. Hello, Bridget and BT Clan and Misty and the Opal guy and Garrett and Jilke and Mark, Deutschland, Bremerhaven. And Claire and everyone else. It's so good to see you, my friends. We will talk just a bit about the counter-espionage for dummies, because I just finished making videos on a UATV dedicated to this very topic, and it's something actually very threatening and very important to talk about today. ADB Games, hello, and Taivo, you had all the beer today. Oh my God, I envy so much. Surfer, hello, and Martin, and everyone else. So, what is the current situation? I will explain situation for first of all in Ukraine. All right, we know that Russians are massively recruiting Ukrainian teenagers. We know that generally speaking, Russians recruiting all sorts of people, manipulating them, blackmailing them, or basically convincing them to spy for them, to collect intelligence, to collect different sensitive data about the Ukrainian defenders, Ukrainian troops, our weaponry, dislocation of our units, and everything else. What else do? They also commit terrorist attacks around Ukraine. Again, you probably know about this yourself. They recruit different people to build bombs, deliver bombs, and also they remotely detonate those bombs, eliminating the target with the carrier together. Unfortunately, they often use children. So basically, you can imagine like a Russian officer of an FSB or whatever, Secret Service, Служба внешней разведки, SVR or whatever, literally sitting behind a computer, like drinking coffee and talking to Ukrainian teenagers, searching specifically for people below 18, and basically telling them, guys, like, do you need cash? Just do a quick job for me, all right? And of course, every teenager loves cash, and they are being recruited to literally either collect data, collect reconnaissance for the Russian terrorists, or deliver IEDs and basically eliminate them. Do the young Ukrainians know they are doing these acts against their own country? This is very interesting question. I will talk about it in just a while. So it's a big threat, but it's a big threat not only for Ukraine. All right. Just this morning we talked about a Russian agent that was detained in Dnipro. She was a drug addict from Kharkiv, and the very fact that she was a drug addict probably already partially answers your question, ADB Games. Did she know what she was doing? Basically, she had an addiction, and Russians knew how to use it against her, how to convince her, all right? And people that have such things as drug addiction or alcohol addiction or depression or anger, especially teenagers, because there's whole bouquet of hormones playing inside their bodies, and they are very easy to manipulate, unfortunately. Hello, Newman. So this is what they do, and the number of those terrorist attacks not only grows, it becomes very unsettling and threatening, because we can see that Russians are involving and recruiting more and more teenagers. The youngest case that I saw was 14 years old, that girl that Russians hacked into her phone and found some of her private photos on her phone, and then started literally blackmailing the child that they will expose her pictures, and they blackmailed her into literally building an IED and delivering it to the targets, which again confirms one more time that in proper countries the security services are fighting against pedos. In Russia, they are pedos. All right, it's not a secret. Like in Russia, if you don't have something shady in your background, then you're not reliable. So unfortunately, this is not only a threat for Ukraine, this is only a threat for European countries, for the United States, of course, and basically for all the civilized world that supports Ukraine, because we've heard about the drone incursions in those areas. We've heard about numerous acts of sabotage, of all sorts of terrorist attacks, surveillance operations, and everything else. Assassinations and assassination attempts of different people who search for political shelter, political asylum in different countries, and things like that. So we can see that Russia uses like the full scale of their capabilities, and of course Russia spends tremendous money on their security services, and this is why it's very, very important to remember, because the support for Ukraine is growing. As we can see, we're talking about not thousands but millions of drones that Ukraine will be building together with other countries. Other countries invest in building those drones in on the Ukrainian territory. Other countries also apply to the PURL program, which is basically a program for buying the weaponry from the United States for Ukraine. Right? There's already 19 countries, and Russia will be increasingly ramping up their campaign, their hybrid warfare against those countries. It's very, very important to remember, and it's important to remember that Russia will not just be sending, their professional spies, like those two imbeciles. Wait a second. Let's remind ourselves. Salisbury spies. There they are. Like, they will not just be sending like imbeciles like those, all right? Fucking mugs. Fuck my life. Like, you look at those degenerates and you ask yourself, how did they pass, like, intellectual selection, to GRU Gasha of the Terrorist Federation? I don't know, like, look at those fucking... Oh my God. They go like, we just went there to see the cathedral, right? My God. Anyways, they will be not only sending those degenerates, unfortunately, because we are living in such an environment where our life is completely connected with the internet. We receive our news from the internet. We keep communicating with our families and relatives and friends via internet and everything like that. So unfortunately, this makes us much more vulnerable for influence that is conducted by the Russian special agencies. Not only Russians, by the way. There's like a whole bunch of terrorist countries: Iran, North Korea, Cuba, all sorts of those bad guys. But we need to know at least what they do, all right? So what they do in Europe is, for example, in countries like United Kingdom, they were hiring Bulgarian nationals. They were hiring Bulgarian nationals to spy for Russia, for FSB. For example, in France, again, this fresh case when they nearly assassinated one of the Russian dissidents, Russian journalists that is taking shelter in France. They also used several Dagestani. They don't care what's your nationality. They care if they can recruit you and use you to do their dirty work. So what we know about their methods, all right? And that's returning to your question. If Ukrainian teenagers knew that they were doing something wrong against their country. Because Russian special services are very, very, very cunning, all right? I cannot call them good, all right? Because good and Russia, those words cannot be connected, but they are trained really, really well in what they're doing. They are very well trained in the beautiful art of mindfuck, which is basically reading yourself, studying you, researching you, finding the leverage to influence you, and basically get into your brain and control you. That, like, let's review. All right, several hypothetical cases. All right, for example, let's imagine some conspiracy theorists, all right, somewhere on the internet. Let's call this degenerate Dave Smith, for example. This conspiracy theorist has like a channel where he pushes his conspiracies, which also allows him to earn money, because together with pushing conspiracies, he's also like promoting different stuff, all right? Like, I don't know, vacuum cleaners, VPN and shit like that. All of a sudden, he is getting contacted by a dude who says, my name is Valentin Jones, all right? And my grandma served in the KGB, and she has like access to the archives. And I will tell you for sure that, for example, in 1989, when this agreement was signed regarding the Germany, they actually talked about not expanding even an inch eastwards. Like, for real, my grandma saw this document with her very, very own eyes, and generally speaking, like, I have a copy of that, all right? And basically, this is how shit is getting spread over the internet, but it's like a very, very innocent example, all right? Because this is the informational warfare. All right, if they find that this imbecile, for example, is ready to, I don't know, talk for money, which he basically can, because again, like, all of his videos are full of different propaganda and shit, and paid advertisement, then of course they can also convince him to basically do. Dave Smith, oh my god, what a coincidence, I didn't mean that, Dave Smith, but anyways, that's a very innocent example, because it doesn't involve actually doing or committing harm to other people. What FSB does, for example, when they are looking for an agent to recruit, they are looking what vulnerabilities you generally have. So, for example, if you are going through some very hard period of your life, divorce or break up with your girlfriend or boyfriend, if you are addicted, if you have any other needs or rights, and for example, if you are a drug addict, then unfortunately you are very easy to manipulate, and it's a fact. Like, they will be providing you with doses for free to basically do whatever they want you to do. But one thing you should always remember about FSB, there will be no case of FSB dude literally telling you, hello my friend, do you want to work for like real guys, all right? Because like here in Kremlin, like, they say all sorts of shit about us, but here in Kremlin, like, we have a very good, no guys, they will never even let you know that you're working for them, all right? And if you are naive enough and easy to convince, all right, they will literally tell you that they are from CIA, and of course you're like a real patriot of your country if you want to work for them to protect your land from foreign invaders. Typical case, all right? That's again returning to your question. Typical case is recently there was assassination attempt of Sergei Sternenko. You probably heard about that one. The woman, the assassin, the suspect that was arrested, the investigators actually, what she told the investigators. She told them that she actually thought that she works for the security service of Ukraine, which I'm not really sure how reliable it is, because in Ukraine, like, everyone knows Sternenko. However, who knows, right? I don't know all the details, but I know a few. So she told them that she thought she was working for security service of Ukraine, and the guy she worked for, who actually was an FSB spy, he convinced her that she has to eliminate that guy living next door because he's a Russian agent. And besides all that, she had online romance with this FSB spy, who literally, he studied this woman, he just opened the door into her mind, and basically she did what he asked her. As easy as that. It's not that hard to actually scam people. It's not that hard to manipulate them if you find proper approach. You just gotta study this person a bit. And the biggest problem, my friends, is that our whole life is out there. Our whole life is online, right? And if you have Facebook, if you have Instagram, basically a person with a tiny amount of skills can actually tell a lot about your personal life. All the way to who are your family members, who are your friends, where you studied, where you worked, and things like that. And knowing this information, basically people can discover other information about you as well. And this is extremely dangerous because, unfortunately, we live in the world full of bad guys, who do this professionally, all right? And this is why we are basically having this stream today. My task is not to scare you. My task is just to make you a bit more aware and a bit more, I would say, confident and safe, all right? Because I'm a Ukrainian, I'm a former Ukrainian cop, also former Ukrainian military. I know just a bit about this topic, all right? So my task is to share this with you and make your life a bit more safer and make you, let's say, a bit more Ukrainian, all right? Because Ukrainians are generally very not trusting people, all right? Like, we don't trust people right away, all right? We always question, like, when we see somebody, we usually, like, it's very... It takes time to actually win our trust, and that is one of the reasons why we don't fall for the Russian bullshit and Russian manipulation easily. However, unfortunately, as you can see, unfortunately, our teenagers do, some of our people do, so it's not necessarily works 100% cases. Okay, let's talk about a hypothetical situation when you need money, all right, and you ask your friends in the messengers, and your friends tell you that, I don't know, maybe I know some guy or whatever. You write this, like, online somewhere in the group that you literally require money. And basically, yeah, skeptical, Alan, thank you, that's the word. And basically, this is how they find you, because that woman that yesterday attempted to plant the bomb under the car of the national police officer, basically she was drug addict, and she was literally scanning through different shady communities, right, shady channels on the Telegram channel, and asking people, like, because she needed a dose, and she was basically ready to do anything. And if they want to process you, all right, in their slang is called взять в разработку, to take into processing. They take a person and they start studying this person, they start researching the person, finding the best approach to them, and eventually they find a proper lever that allows them to control them, to make them do what they want. So there will be someone writing you, dude, you need money, just give me your PayPal, I will throw you like 200 euro right away, all right, or like $300 straight away. Just give me back when you can, I don't care. And he becomes your best friend. He shows you photos from, I don't know, Miami, him drinking beer. He becomes your good friend. He might, I don't know, top up your phone. He might do all sorts of different gestures of goodwill, and eventually win your trust. You will never know that he is like a Russian lieutenant, right, or whatever. You will never know that, all right? He will have American phone number, he will talk to you without accent, everything will be absolutely perfect. But one time he will tell you to make like a small favor and deliver an envelope, all right? Just as easy as that. Just like literally take envelope from here and throw it into a post box, because unfortunately I cannot, I don't have much time. I'll just drop it at your place and you just deliver it there. It's like a tiny favor. It's just an envelope, just a letter. There's nothing, there's no bomb, no explosives, I don't know, everything's fine, all right? And when you do that, eventually he will tell you to do other little favors, all right? Just like that. And in worst case, of course, when they realize that you don't want to do that, they will actually tell you that, bro, in that envelope that you helped us to deliver, all right, there was actually some very specific and sensitive information that now contains your fingerprints. And, if we tell the authorities that you actually cooperate with North Korean intelligence, then, despite all the agreements with the court and everything else, you will go to jail for 50 years, all right? And also, besides that, we know where your kids live. And that's basically it. You are what Russians call завербованный, all right? You are recruited. And this is how it works. So that's just one of the options. Option number 2, you are divorced, all right? And you're writing about this in your social media for the whole world to know that, oh my God, I am finally free. And you receive commentary from a dude that is following and followed by your friends, and the dude says, oh my God, congratulations, friend. And you start talking, and your acquaintance slowly turns into your close friend. And your close friend starts talking to you. Of course, it's like online, it's like whatever. You don't even meet in the real life. They say like, kinda sucks, yeah. And you go, yeah. He goes like, I understand you. I've been divorced like myself. Like, my life sucks. And, they become your best friends. When you meet FSB spies, it's not like, in the spy movies, like dark restaurant dude wearing a hat and everything else. No, it can be just online talking, conversations and shit like that. And people seem so good. They seem so open and so friendly, and you never had such a good friend. He understands you like this, and he has something to share, or she. And eventually it just turns into the same pattern. They just ask you about a favor. For example, go to this website, download something, deliver something, shit like that. I don't know, if he claims that he's system administrator, he might ask you to just download this program, go to this position in your city and stand there with your phone for a while. Nothing special, right? Okay, you are a lonely person, all right? You are a lonely person, you don't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, girlfriend, let's say, all right, because I'm a boy, obviously. Big boy, but still a boy. You don't have a girlfriend, you are lonely, and basically, even if you are very, very skeptical, right, regarding other people, still you might eventually receive a message from some incredibly brilliant, fantastic girl who will speak your language, all right? Of course, she will have, if you live, for example, in, I don't know, in Florida, she will have a phone number like from Ohio area or whatever, and she will speak without accent. You can actually even call her, all right? And she will reply to you like a real person, you know? You will have like proper conversation. And eventually she will become your romantic partner, all right? She will do whatever you like. She will send you all sorts of pictures. She will be, I don't know, making videos for you and sharing them, whatever you desire, all right? And then, again, this pattern starts. She will be asking you for small favors that actually don't mean anything, all right? Just to check. We had several cases. For example, not in my brigade, but generally in Ukraine, we had several cases. For example, way before the full-scale invasion, before the Belarusian dictator Lukashenko actually confirmed that he's a big motherfucker, a son of Ukrainian priest, all right? And he was like 20 years old, 21. He never, like, looking at his picture, even, you know, with all the acne, you could probably understand that he never had a girl like in his life. And eventually he found a girl from Belarus, all right? So the girl from Belarus started like texting him and things like that. And eventually he fell in love, and it wasn't very, very hard to do, guys. He fell in love, they started like exchanging the love letters and pictures and everything else, and then she invited him to Belarus, actually. So the dude went to Belarus and he disappeared, and later he emerged in literally Russian prison, and he was accused of being Ukrainian terrorist, Ukrainian spy, almost like a colonel of Ukrainian military intelligence and things like that, that was deployed there to conduct, you know, like terrorist attacks on Belarus and Russia. And that's a real case, again, from life. We had so many cases like that. We had literally all of my guys in my platoon being messaged by the same girl with like barely 2 pictures in her profile and asking like, how's service? Let's be friends. Where are you going? Are you deployed? Where are you deployed? You know, things like that. Shaya, yeah, poor boy, 100%. Like that dude suffered because not only he was, let's say, virgin, but he was also disabled. He had a disability, something like cerebral. You know what I'm talking about. Something like that. He had a disability which basically prevented him from even serving in the army. And he was basically catfished. He was brought to Belarus, he was lured to Belarus, and then there he was kidnapped by the Russian terrorists, by Russian spec services. This is how it works. It's actually tragic, and it's actually very, very cruel to do that. But again, like, Russian FSB doesn't have such feeling as, you know, mercy, sympathy, but no, they don't have that. They are literally just, you know, empty shells full of specific skills to manipulate people. That's all. Regarding that lady that was literally asking all of the guys in my platoon, like literally we were enrolled literally en route to our deployment. And I'm sitting, like, she texts me all of a sudden. Then here's like Bogdan, she texts Bogdan the same. And we look at each other, we start laughing like crazy. I just, later I simply stood up and I said, guys, are you texting with the same woman? They're like, yeah. I'm like, I bet that she's at least a captain, all right? At least a captain. So it was kind of funny. But do they do this to young Russians too? Not against Russia, but for recruitment, etc. I will be talking just from my experience, from what I know, all right? Because I don't really know if they do something to Russians, all right? So it's not like they need to conduct terrorist attacks on their own territory, but on the other hand, why not, all right? I know that on the Russian territory, among everything what they do, they also conduct different reconnaissance. The Max messenger that they force everyone to install, that shit that emerged instead of Telegram, for example, and they literally force everyone in Russia to install the Max Messenger because it collects data and sends that straight to the FSB. So if you even prevent your phone to share data with the Max Messenger, they will block you, all right? You will not be able to use it. And if you want to use it, you gotta allow the data sharing. So the FSB will then eventually learn everything about you. So that is what I know about Russia. I know like all sorts of parental groups, for example, in the school, all right? So there's like a bunch of children studying in the school, and their parents, together with their teacher, they have this like school group for parents, and they monitor everything. They monitor that shit because why would they monitor school groups for parents, right? Like, why? What's the point? It's very easy. It's because the 50% of the Russian schools are falling apart today. That's official information according to the Russian Ministry of Education. And they don't have money to do maintenance in those schools, fix heating, fix sewers and stuff like that. But of course they have money to kill Ukrainians. And if parents in the schools start, saying shit about Putin, well, basically that's the reason why they have surveillance in such groups as school groups for parents. That's just Russia, all right? So they have different ways to approach people, right? They have different ways to find proper leverage to manipulate them. And that is one of the reasons why we should be extremely cautious. I'm not calling you to literally stop communicating with everyone you know, all right? But what I'm calling is you gotta be more cautious in terms of online. Don't post sensitive information about yourself. And even if you think that basically nothing is threatening you, all right, even despite that fact, they still might use that information to find more sensitive information about you, about your relatives, God forbid, about your parents, about your kids, and about your friends. And by tracing all of your contacts, literally the same way we did back in 2015 in places like Krasnohorivka, for example, where we were tracing the connections between local population and, for example, known terrorists, right, that they were communicating with. So I'm just speaking out of my own experience. So by tracing those connections, they will build the broader picture. They will find compromise, as X-Stellis says exactly, and they will find the proper leverage to make you do what they want, all right? And when they do, you will be completely convinced that you're actually doing something good, that you're working, for example, for Ukrainian intelligence, all right, or like just Ukrainian defenders, and you're doing a proper thing, and you're not doing anything wrong. They will tell you to ride car from point A to point B and back, all right? Like nothing wrong about that. And then you will do that, and it will give them another tool to manipulate you in the future. So that is something that we should know. It's very important to keep in mind that we need to keep our security, keep our private life protected, all right? And even though it's very, very tempting sometimes to share some of our private information online, thinking that nothing will happen, right? But it's very important not to do that today, all right? Let's just not do that while the terrorist federation exists and has a lot of trained personnel that literally study your information professionally and find a way to manipulate you. This is something very, very important to remember. So basically, all of a sudden you receive some message. Of course, they will not be asking you to do some shit straight away, right? They will not be asking you to deliver a suitcase to like American Air Base or something like that. No, they will become good friends with you. They will make some gifts, all right? They will give you some presents. They will win your trust and receive your appreciation. And after that, they might start asking you for different tiny favors, all right, that don't mean anything. So when you feel that something is wrong, all right, and they do everything to make sure that you don't feel nothing like that. When you feel something is wrong, when an anonymous person, all right, a person you never seen in your entire life, all right, is trying to ask you about some favor, deliver something, go somewhere or whatever, just in case, all right, just in case, call the cops, all right, and report, because it's very important to at least, it's okay if you look dumb for doing that. Then if you accidentally agree and some fuck sitting somewhere like across the globe, on the other side, somewhere in Moscow, presses the button and basically a tragedy happens in your area, all right? So it's important to be, all right, let's call it this way, a bit paranoid, all right? It's very important to be a bit paranoid today because unfortunately we have this big terrorist organization known as Russian Federation that is actually recruiting people nowadays to do all sorts of ugly shit around Europe and not only on this continent, but also others. So this is something that we should always remember, at least until we see Russia deconstructed or collapsed. How is long COVID coming along, Elvin Archer? By the way, that's something that I wanted to ask you as well. Let us know, all right? I know that President Zelensky is currently meeting Donald Trump. I am not watching this one yet, all right? I knew that they were going to meet, but I decided to stream for you guys because it's actually the information that I wanted to share with you. And also today I made a video for UATV where basically I am discussing this very topic. I'm throwing it into the chat right now. And please make sure to either watch it or just send it to your friends so they are also aware, all right? Because it's, unfortunately today it's important to pay attention to such things, all right? In general, consider internet a war zone, scammers, ads, FSB, perverts, etc. Unfortunately, that's a fact because like internet is such an interesting thing. Like you open, for example, chat roulette, you don't know what you will see. Like I don't know, an FSB dude, a North Korean fuck, or somebody jerking cock like into the camera. It's like it's a very strange place nowadays. I tell you that. I remember back in the days, like we are at the base, all right? It's back like 2015. We are at the base and we're sitting like that, you know, nothing happens. We are in Kyiv, not on Donbass somewhere, and we're literally dying out of boredom. And one of my friends goes like, let's try chat roulette. You know, he comes up with this absolutely genius idea. It's like, let's try chat roulette. And me, another genius in the room, goes like, yeah, okay, let's try. And literally, you just, it takes time to actually scroll, you know, through all the dicks and finally find like a human face, right, to talk to. That's scary, and it was like that already, 10 years ago. So chat roulette is a sketchy place, my friends. Never use it. Like it's populated by people with dark intentions. All right. I think ad blockers and better antivirus made us less wary in some ways. Probably yeah. But again, the personal communication. So, of course, we know that Russian hackers use access to your computers. They're trying to infiltrate your network and get into your computer and steal some shit. Then maybe blackmail you with that. It doesn't matter. If such a thing happens, you better go and report to the police. That girl... the 14-year-old, she was actually arrested. She was arrested because instead of going to police and reporting about this shit, she actually designed a bomb. And luckily, she was saved by the security service of Ukraine. So she didn't die. She attempted to plant the bomb and then she was detained. And of course, because she didn't report the very fact that she was preparing this terrorist attack, unfortunately, she will face responsibility for that. And she's 14. You know, it's very sad, unfortunately. But again, the way they blackmailed her was because they hacked her phone in some way and they snatched her pictures. If they snatch your pictures, whatever pictures they are, and start blackmailing you, you don't have any other option than just going to the police, because that is the best case scenario, right? Always. Whatever sort of blackmail they're using, whatever sort of compromise they have on you, but it's always better to just relieve this burden, go to police, talk to them. People in police saw all sorts of crazy shit, my friends. Trust me. If Russians discovered like a gallery of your very personal, I don't know, dick pics, all right, policemen will give no shit about that. They have their own. They saw all sorts of crap. So like, just. It doesn't matter. But unfortunately, of course, besides just blackmailing, they're very, very good at that art of mindfuck, and they will actually convince their victim of doing whatever, you know, whatever they want, because they're good at it. They're good at manipulating people. What is the age when you become criminally responsible in Ukraine? I believe it's 16 years. You become partially criminally responsible. So but we also have like a juvenile system. So, for example, for committing felonies and committing violent crimes, of course, the offender is being prosecuted depending on the crime. But on the other hand, the terrorist attack is a violent crime. All right. So it's not just her parents will be responsible for that. Unfortunately, she will be responsible for that too, because she didn't tell anyone. It's a tragedy. I agree. It's a tragedy that we can only blame Russians for. All right, only Russians to blame for that. How do you know? How do I know what? How do I know if policemen saw all sorts of crazy shit? Because I was a cop myself. I saw all sorts of crazy shit. All right. One time we detained, I'm not sure if I told you this story. One time we detained two guys. What was like the background, all right? So we created a fake person, all right, on the internet, just like Russians do nowadays. It was 2015. All right, we created a fake person because we found several guys who actually they had like a full album of DPR music. They had a lot of connections with other shady characters. So we decided to just in case check who they are. All right, so we started talking to them using this fake account. And we found that actually, yeah, for real, they have a lot of connections with, all sorts of scum on the other side. And eventually we decided to take them. So we organized an ambush, and we got them. We got them just to talk, And when we got them, of course, they voluntarily gave us their phones, all right, voluntarily, and we checked their pictures. And on the phone of one of those guys, and he was 18 actually. On the phone of one of those guys, I'm looking at that shit, and I'm like, doesn't look like any sort of porn that I saw in my life, all right? Looks fucking sketchy. I'm like, how old is this girl? And other guys are like, fuck, doesn't look adult to us. So we take this guy, we're like, you're a fucking pedophile, you're going straight to jail, bro. And then we start talking to him, and when he's being interrogated, I actually found the person on the photo. Turned out it was his actual girlfriend, all right? And I'm like, right, dude, okay, take this shit. And she was like 1 year younger than him. Like, fuck, bro. I'm sorry, of course, take it. All right. So such things also happen. But generally speaking, when we work, we see all sorts of crazy shit. All right. That was like very awkward situation. But again, the dude could literally tell us, all right? When asked, he could literally tell us that, dude, this is my girlfriend, like Natasha, she's like 17, I'm 18, like whatever, we would never give a fuck about that. But that's the situation. So what else? Oh my God. One time we captured the dude who was connected to the terrorists, and on his phone he had like all sorts of nudes from 3 lovers, and posing with each of those lovers. Those lovers have had kids. One time we detained a guy who was hiding on the attic, and in the yard, while he was hiding in the attic, his wife was drinking with his ex, and I think with his ex, all right? They were just drinking there with the kids. And we were watching that, like the fuck is, like, who are you? I'm his wife. Who are you? I'm his former wife. Oh, really? That's so interesting. And then we found a dude hiding on the attic. We found ammo in the yard. So he was an interesting guy, but he cooperated eventually with the investigators. So there are different situations. The other guy, by the way, the friend of that 18-year-old, I think I told you his story. He was HIV positive. He actually had HIV/AIDS, and that was the moment when I sincerely tried to help him. I asked his story, and he's like, I received AIDS when I was 14 from a hooker. I don't know what to say. He received AIDS, he contracted AIDS when he was 14 from a hooker, and since that time he tried to survive. And basically when the Russian hybrid invasion started in 2014, he lost every opportunity to receive treatment from AIDS, all right? So what I did, I asked about his information. I contacted Foundation of Elena Franchuk. I contacted other people, other services, and asked them what this guy can do in order to receive the treatment for free. Then he was nagging that his mom or his grandma is disabled and she's on the occupied territory, and he was like crying, talking all that. And I contacted a different service, actually a state service in Ukraine, and I asked what he can do. They gave like the complete algorithm of what he can do to bring her back to the controlled territory. And I texted this boy. He was like 18, I think, something like that. I contacted that boy. I told him the information. I'm like, all right, you gotta collect this and this and this. All right, all your documents or everything HIV related. You gotta send them here. All right, I will not do this for you, but you gotta do it yourself. At the same time, you gotta find this and this information, and this is how you can deliver your mom back to the controlled territory or grandma. Do you understand? He's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, I'm not pushing you, but just start preparing everything, all right? Because this is a serious shit. You gotta prepare everything, all right? Already yesterday, because the sooner you do it, the better for you and your loved ones. 2 weeks passed. I'm meeting this guy, and he came to our base to talk with a bottle of beer. And I'm meeting this guy. I'm asking, so what's the progress? Tell me, make me happy, bro. Like, did you do anything? He's like, I didn't do anything. I was drinking for 2 weeks, basically. So that's when I realized that if you drown, saving yourself is your very own fucking business, all right? Nobody will do it instead of you. Well, that's basically it. I mean, the fucker was nagging that he cannot take his mom back to the controlled territory. Took me fucking 5 minutes to find the necessary information, At the same time, I want to shock you, all right? I want to shock you. Do you want to know where the dude worked? So he worked as a butcher, this dude with HIV. He worked as a butcher, all right, as a butcher assistant at a meat factory. So he was basically chopping the meat. How do you like that? And he was very, very much scared that if his boss finds out that he's HIV addict, then he will get fired and he will basically lose his job. Which, when he told me that, made me instantly call his fucking boss and report this. Because, I don't give a fuck if, 1,000 people contracts AIDS because of this dude. and I knew about this, I will just, I don't know, I will do something to myself, all right? So it's plainly wrong. So that's like don't bash realities, guys. 2015, don't bash realities in their essence, just so you could imagine what it was like, all right? Do that I only eat fish. So, what do we talk about? I think we already spent like 1 hour talking about the counter-espionage. I think I can just remove this, all right? And we can have a tiny, tiny chat while our bosses, all right, while our state leaders are discussing why Ukraine will not receive Tomahawks, which, by the way, I'm extremely, extremely skeptical about. One of our guys compared Donald Trump to a girl that got dumped, all right? Like a young student who got dumped. She got dumped by a macho, all right? She got dumped by a dude she always wanted to get laid with. And what she does is she instantly just grabs another boy, you know, to make that dude jealous or something and say, all right, now we are together. Look, everyone, all right, I don't need you anymore. And when the other dude finally starts like noticing her because she's with another guy, she's like jumping back to him and starts talking like, how are you? Let's have a meeting in Budapest. So he said that this association actually explains a lot. We will see if it's true. You need a thermal mug. Did you get milk yet? So first of all, I didn't get the milk because I was 2000. Fuck, I forgot how to call it. Heute ich bin zu Hause. Okay. All the fuck. I need to know how. I remembered how to say this. The whole day. Den ganzen Tag. Scheiße. So, I've been home the whole day and generally I didn't go anywhere. I was literally streaming with you guys, sleeping just a bit, all right? And then I woke up and I did that video that I just finished, and it's already available online. So I didn't go outside, I didn't buy milk, but at the same time I have the thermal cup, the thermal mug. It's in the kitchen. Whatever. Heute war ich den ganzen Tag zu Hause. Heute war ich den ganzen Tag zu Hause. Can I just say, ich bin hier zu Hause den ganzen Tag? At least Scheiße was. Thank you very much. Thank you. Takes coffee black like my empty soulless hearts. The coffee is the color of the lives that matter, my friends. They still do. They still do whatever like current government is trying to do in the United States. They still do, and they will forever. Say Oktoberfest nach Hause. Oktoberfest nach Hause. Actually, my friends, I went to the Oktoberfest events, okay, like locally. We have like this Alte Stadt, all right, and I went there to the like to see. It was, by the way, relatively warm, and we went there, and we had like burgers. There were a bunch of cool attractions. There was this like place, like not like carousel, but carousel goes around, and that stuff goes like this, and people literally pee while flying. And they were playing different music, and they played Lila. And Lila is a very, very good song generally in Germany. All right. Miroslav here. Hello, my friends. Hello, brother. I tried to call Miroslav to stream with me today, but he's too shy. Yeah, so they played Lila, and I thought that the song is kind of banned, but it was so good. Ich habe einen Puff und meine Puff-Mama heißt Lila, and there's like kids around it, and kids are having fun. I'm like, oh my god, this place is amazing. So then after that, I went to like those rolls, like that bazaar that they have. They were selling different things, and there was like a shooting range. You play something like you pay something like €20, and you shoot something like 40 pellets or something like that. The BB gun, the BB gun. It wasn't Kalashnikov because, for example, in Ukraine, when you go to a shooting range, that generally is some kind of Kalashnikov airsoft rifle, and that one was something local, something German, and so I enjoyed it so fucking much. My friends, I enjoyed it. I didn't shoot since 2023, I think, and the feeling was kind of cool, like even despite the whole war-related shit, all right? Because there's nothing beautiful about war, but I'm shooting since I'm 4 years old, right? My father would take me to different shooting ranges, and this stuff is a sport to me. It's something that relaxes me big time. So one thing I was very much devastated when I realized that in Germany you cannot just go to a shooting range and shoot, because, for example, in Ukraine you can go to a shooting range and shoot a fucking tank cannon. I shit you not. We have this shooting range called Kupol. I think it's called Kupol. We've been there with Mirko, by the way. We were there together. All right. So that one is really cool because they allow you to shoot like mortars. They allow you to shoot. They have like a tank. I think they even have like a German Tiger tank. I might be wrong, but something like that. And basically you can just go there, shoot whatever you like. They have all sorts of rifles, handguns, whatever. And I went there with my rifles, I shoot my stuff, and the guys also shot like Kalashnikovs and stuff like that. But since 23, I had absolutely no chance to shoot anything besides, I don't know, even computer games. I really don't like computer games, the shooters. Besides maybe LSPDFR, the police mode for the GTA 5, that's my guilty pleasure, and Ready or Not, but again, not much time to do that. So I took that like BB gun. I had such an immense pleasure shooting it. Oh my god! And like and basically, this dude, Mabakhandula, is my prize for shooting all those targets. Yeah. Now you know. DayZ is a good stuff, all right, but I can confirm that it's very much realistic besides zombies, all right? Because when you look at computer games, generally speaking, first-person shooters, Arma is the thing, starting from Operation Flashpoint and all the way to Arma 3, but not included, all right? Not including Arma 3. That line of games is good because basically it's more or less like in the real life, all right? You run, you don't see anything, they shoot you from who knows where, you're dead, all right? Like one bullet and you're no more. You fall down in the high grass, you cannot see shit. They just like shoot you. Where to shoot, where are the enemies, situational awareness is absolute zero, just like in the real life. So basically that one is not bad. DayZ, again, very, very good. But sometimes we play computer games not because they're realistic. We play computer games to escape reality, all right? That's one of the reasons why, for example, I like Microsoft Flight Simulator, which, by the way, very, very soon, the God Friends will be publishing a really cool Ukrainian aircraft as an add-on. I'm looking forward to have this one. You are weird today. Maybe I'm just hungry. Seriously, the only thing I had today was literally two burgers, a bit of French fries, several sandwiches with smoked pork, several chocolate bars, frikadelle, cheesecake, croissant. Not much stuff, generally, not much stuff at all. Nothing is more weird than Russian contactless martial arts. Yes, my friend, that stuff is so impressive. All right, it's amazing. I was going to buy the flight sim, but someone died and had to move first. Oh my god. That's horrible. You should try Hunt Showdown. Is it about hunting? I don't know. You must be starving. I really am, my friend. I'm starving like a bitch. I don't know. Zelensky in the house. All right. Let's probably, you know what? Let's check out some of the Telegram groups and see, because yes, we can see Zelensky in the White House. He just arrived.
President Trump, sir, do you believe you can convince Vladimir Putin to end the war in Ukraine? Do you believe Putin is negotiating in good faith, sir? Do you believe, is Putin negotiating in good faith, sir? Thank you.
I think we all know answer to this question, all right? I think we just we know what the answer is. Your broadcast pattern today is strange. You ruined my entire evening program. I'm so sorry, my friend. You know that I decided to stream in the morning and in the evening, apparently because I have so much free time. I don't know. So you should stream Flight Sim one night. My friend, I thought about it, and actually I even created a separate channel called Captain Starsky. You can actually find it online. I made several reviews, but I didn't try to stream yet. So, oh my god, he wasn't wearing a suit! Oh, such a failure! I don't know. Oh my god. Probably we will hear some comments regarding this today. Like, it doesn't look like a suit. He was wearing like...
The war in Ukraine.
Like, yeah, like... No, wait, he does. He actually does. I think that that is just like black jacket and black t-shirt. Okay, let's check out other channels. Yeah, Zelensky arrived. He didn't give commentaries to the media, and he immediately went inside. So they will have lunch, which is... I would like to have lunch myself. The priority questions will be the delivery of the Tomahawks to Ukraine, improving the air defense and energy. And also they might discuss the possible meeting between Zelensky and Putin in Budapest. I don't know if Zelensky can, like, you know, unalive Putin with one punch. I would really like to see that, actually, because generally when you look at Zelensky, he looks like he was working out, right? And definitely he knows how to troll, so that will be interesting. Yeah, I received like multiple messages that Zelensky is talking to Trump in the White House. Interruption of stream. Really? Did it just got knocked down? Let me know, because I have a trauma since like Friday or Saturday. Putin now wants to add to his collection of troll bridges by adding the Alaska bridge to the Kursk bridge. That idea of like building the tunnel is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. You should contact Bohemia Interactive. They work with content creators. I would love to, because Bohemia are, you know, they're proper dudes. I believe that they at least served. I don't know about like the Soviet army, you know, the army of the Soviet times, the Warsaw Pact, but from what I've seen back when I was young boy, a student in the university actually, and I bought the Operation Flashpoint for the first time, I realized that like the dudes are legit, that the dudes actually served. And later when I went to serve in the army myself, I confirmed it. Okay, I double confirmed it, that stuff is legit. Because like when I was a sergeant, I had so many cases where, you know, you're training with the guys and your guys are like on the march, like you're moving in column, right, somewhere in the ass of nowhere, and you shout like contact 3 o'clock, and everybody falls down and tries to find cover, and you're like sitting behind a dude who's like, you know, he's trying to find cover. He's so professional, you know, and he's like lying down and keeping his sector. And you sit down behind him like, dude, what do you see? He's like, nothing. I'm like, of course you see nothing, because like there's a tree in front of you. And like slowly you make people, you know, understand situations. Very, very slowly, but steadily people evolve. Okay, from apes to soldiers, they learn how to analyze. They learn that if you're, for example, in the tall grass, you will not see shit. And it's better not to lie behind the tree, but a bit to the side, using it as a cover. You will see much more all of a sudden. So we had such situations a lot, all right? And Operation Flashpoint and later Arma actually models those situations so well. So well. I know that I might be wrong, but I think that American Army even uses their platform to model different situations. In that training camp, we had one big problem, actually, ants. Because when it's summer and it's hot, the ants are crazy. Like the whole territory. The whole area is literally alive under your feet because there's like billions and gazillions of ants. And again, situations when, you know, you're training and the guys just fall down and take cover, and then suddenly they start like shifting, you know, from place to place because fucking ants. It was crazy. American Army had their own game. I don't know. I know that they use, for example, things like GCAT to model situations on the operational level, but ARMA, I don't even know. Like, of course, it's much better to train in the realistic environment than like with a computer game. But on the other hand, because you can repeat same situation in different ways, sometimes you can only do that on a computer, for example. Mosquitoes 4 o'clock, yeah. So sometimes we thought about things like, for example, throwing like a Counter-Strike competition between us and the kids in the school nearby, because in HOSTOMEL, immediately neighboring our base, there was a school number 14 that later was occupied by Russians, destroyed, shot at, and used as their artillery position. So before all that happened, while it was still intact and kids were studying there, we actually wanted to throw like a competition, like Counter-Strike competition with the youngsters. And I believe that they would actually kick our asses, all right? Because like one thing is running around somewhere in the field, wearing your equipment and rifle and run there like a motherfucker, and you know, sitting in the club and playing a game is a completely different experience, of course. And of course, because kids usually have much more free time than us in the army, of course, they would be much more professional with first-person shooters. Yeah, but we never did that, unfortunately, because the full-scale invasion came faster. Please take a moment to like and share the stream if you haven't already. It's a very good idea. Let me share it and like it. Right? I will be, you know, one of those people who actually like my own video, right? And share my own stream. Zé wants to get to business and remind how fragile ceasefires are, citing Middle East. Could be. I believe that it's a bit the other way around. Maybe he wants to use this impulse from the resolution, all right, on the Middle East, and actually encourage or maybe inspire Trump to do something. But we will see. Russian journalist in disguise asking a stupid question. Actually, it's a good point. I wonder how many Russian journalists will be present there in the White House today. Sanctioned Ivan said the journalist who started that about Zelensky's suit was the Russian TASS, asking how they even got in the White House. Actually, that journalist who asked Zelensky about his suit was Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend. That's what I know. But the fact is there were Itar-TASS journalists, which is fucking unexplainable. Trump repeatedly prattles about how Zelensky and Putin don't like each other. Obvious, like, why should he like Putin? I mean, there's a reason why we don't like Putin, and basically there's a reason why there's actually arrest warrant issued for his head. I mean, what does Trump expect? That we would just hug, all right? I don't see that happening. How will Putin get to Budapest? Yeah, exactly. That's a question that I asked this morning because I've literally no idea. Maybe Trump will ask somebody, like, for example, he will call, for example, president of Poland and ask him not to intercept the airplane, all right? Maybe something like that, but generally I have no idea. There's absolutely no way for Putin to get to Budapest. Besides, maybe he will be flying through, like, I don't even know. We looked at the map this morning, actually, and I have no idea. I have no idea, my friend. Doesn't ARMA have a military training kind of thing? I remember hearing that. Something like that. Like, they developed a separate software using the ARMA platform. But I don't really remember what it does. All right, because if you want to study tactics, it's always better to do that in the field rather than on the computer. Playing on the computer, that's a completely different thing. You do that for fun. Fighting is never about fun. There's absolutely nothing fun in fighting at all. The continuous repeating is a sign of dementia, or basically is a sign of sticking to what the communications officer is saying. Maybe he just likes repeating the same shit over and over again. I don't know. Over Montenegro and Serbia, yeah, that might be the case, but. What's the, like, Serbia 100%, I don't even have any doubt about that, but Montenegro, you think it's possible? Will Montenegro allow them to fly? Because I don't know, you know situation better. Does the same apply to drone simulators, or can the game be useful there? Absolutely, absolutely. Drone simulator is the shit. Like, it's very good. Because one thing, of course, is like simulating a living human being, like running around the virtual world. But simulating a machine that actually flies and basically everything is the same, the interface is the same, it's actually very, very good. I remember on Steam, they had something like Drone Simulator. The last time I checked it, it was still in beta. It wasn't even there. It was like, wasn't even early access, it was just being built. I'm not sure, I gotta check it if it's already available. Fielding question about India and Melania. Now Trump being reminded by a reporter that we might need the Tomahawks. Actually, yeah. It's a good thing to remind him about the topic from time to time. It's a Ukrainian drone, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I know that such, let's say, for example, in my brigade, we had reconnaissance guys, we had basically those drone operators, and they were using simulators. Actually, we used drone simulators in our reconnaissance already in like 2019. And that was actually a funny story because I talked to the guys and I'm like, oh, I play like flight simulators. They're like, oh, really? We do too. And I thought that they were playing like actual stuff, like, Microsoft Flight Simulator, for example. No. They showed me like the simulator they were actually playing, and they didn't even know about Microsoft Flight Simulator. They were flying like the drone simulator, and they could simulate several types of drones, fixed wing, the quadrocopter, as far as I remember, and we already had that like several years before the full-scale invasion. So after the full-scale invasion started, we do have simulators, but not like those that are available on the Steam. Tomahawk is a naval cruise missile still in service. Ask for the Pershing 2. To me, Tomahawk is a Piper Tomahawk. is a general aviation aircraft that, I don't know, 50% of modern pilots trained at, yeah. I don't believe that we will see them in Ukraine. Frankly speaking, I am very, very skeptic about this one. I'd hate to see Putin anywhere in the EU. On the other hand, I would actually, I would not mind to see him somewhere in the Netherlands, right? Somewhere in the beautiful Hague. We're almost 4 years in now. Maybe they should have rearmed by now. I don't know. From what the open sources are saying, it's not about rearming, it's about producing, even covering the needs of the Navy in the US in terms of Tomahawks. So the military industry in the United States basically covers the needs of Navy, and I doubt that they produce that they produce more than their strategic reserve requires. So I don't know. Up to 38 a month, actually. Oh, I didn't know that. BT and Mopsis Gun, thank you so much for your beautiful and warm words. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, The Hague. We gotta take Putin to The Hague. It's such a beautiful place. In The Hague, by the way, there's this absolutely amazing restaurant called Sonia's Restaurant, and they prepare. If you live somewhere, all right, in the area, you gotta visit this one because they offer very, very legit Ukrainian cuisine, all right? So they have sirniks, they have kurchatko tabaka, and also they have some of the local Odessa cuisine, because Odessa cuisine is kinda special, kinda original, all right? Hague is no good these days. What happened to Hague? Hague is such a great place. Yes, Sonia is great. Absolutely. It's such a great place. I remember several times we've been there, and every single time, usually you gotta go to restaurants while not being too hungry, right? Because when you have hungry eyes and you order a lot and you don't eat everything, it kind of sucks. But because I'm operator starving, I usually go there hungry and I order shit, like a lot of shit. And last time we've been there with the guys, we had Borscht, we had pelmeni, not as good as vareniki, though it's just a different dish. We had sirniki, we had chicken tabaka, we had pampushkas. Pampushkas is like those that garlic bread, you know, it's very soft, it's kind of like wet garlic bread. It's really, really good. And it was nice. Trine, what is he saying? What Besant is saying? Let us know. I bought the game on Steam, FPV. It's really good. All right, I gotta check this one. Because I remember I've seen some like very much legit FPV simulator, all right? Like specifically about the war in Ukraine. I love The Hague. I could stay there in a cozy apartment and walk to court every day. I would just live somewhere there, like outside the court in a tent, you know. I don't even need a cozy apartment. I would sleep in a car. Besant is talking about the deals with China. I don't know what to comment on this one. I highly doubt Huilo will get a red carpet in Den Haag. Then again, we all know he doesn't deserve any carpet at all. I agree, my friend. I feel for Zelensky and his crew who has to sit through this mental torture session. I think Zelensky has a very big patience, all right? I'm getting older, my friends. You know, when I served in the police, we actually went through a lot of training to improve our self-control and things like that. Because if you're very emotional, if, for example, you see a person that literally curses you and calls you different names and you lose control, like you're not supposed to work in the police, all right? Like you have to have no emotions at all. And we went through this training because generally we had cases, for example, when you go to places like Donbass and meet people who only yesterday were going to like referenda, right? Voting to be a part of beautiful Russian motherfucking land. And today they live on the controlled territory and they see you and they curse you and they hate you so bad. And we didn't give a damn. So besides that, generally, when you work in the patrol police, of course, you need to have extremely good self-control. Extremely good, because there are so many different situations and you gotta be just... police is like gangsters, but lazy or Buddha. Pretty much, because, you know, cops and gangsters generally use the same tools, only with a different purpose, all right? So, kinda, yeah, like kinda approach is similar, but the purpose is different. But yeah, if you work in the patrol police, you have to pass through some specific trainings, tests, if you can control yourself well in any situation, because the situations are so different and sometimes they're so fucked up. Big time. Like... one of the cases, like we had so many of them, a dude on a bus stop is beating the living crap out of a woman, which basically looks like his wife, all right? And I'm not even on duty, all right? I'm off duty, I'm returning home. And I see that shit, and of course I'm wearing uniform and stuff, of course I have to protect the lady, because like he's literally killing her, like, you know, straight punches. And I'm rushing there to help her, and I'm starting to fight with the dude, and the dude is like, in the state of complete outrage. He's furious. He doesn't even understand what's going on. He doesn't even understand that I'm a cop. And we start fighting, and pretty much, the situation is like very, very bad. And all of a sudden, I feel like someone grabbing myself from behind, and I realize that it's his wife, who decided to protect her husband, all right? And I was very lucky that there were other people on the bus stop that actually helped us, that stopped the fight, because, all right, I'm not the biggest person in the world. I'm like 175. I don't know what is it in like feet and inches. I don't know. But turns out that I'm now like against two people, all right? And people rushed, they stopped the fight, they separated us and stuff. I didn't even like press any like charges or whatever, because like it's a fucked up situation. Fight in the family. There's no worse situation than domestic disturbance. There's nothing worse than that, because everyone is right, everyone is wrong. And whatever you do, you are always a motherfucker, all right? It always works like that. So that one was kind of fun. 175 is like 5'6", 5'5", not basketball, and definitely not rugby, my friend. Definitely not rugby. Yeah, but that one was so sobering, like I'm trying to save her life, and all of a sudden she sees that I'm fighting her husband. Something clicks and she starts fighting me. I'm so happy, that Ukrainian women, basically Ukrainian wives, are so faithful, they're so dedicated to their families. Oh my God, it's beautiful. I was happy for her. Domestic calls are some of the most dangerous to officers. Absolutely. But that's just what I was returning home from the duty, and I was tired. I wanted to sleep. But on the other hand, when something like that is happening and you are there wearing uniform, even if you don't wear uniform, but you're a cop, you gotta do something, all right? You gotta prevent people at least from being killed, which is something that I saw. Like literally, the dude was bashing her mercilessly. And I was actually very much scared because he could do some damage. And it was completely crazy. And generally, again, the domestic disturbances, you never know who is right, who is wrong, because there's never black and white, okay? A call, all right? The guys visit an apartment, domestic disturbance, violence and shit like that. So what they see is, again, it was like way before the full-scale invasion. They see a husband that is like running around with a knife like crazy. He's completely drunk. And the worst thing is that he's a veteran with PTSD, with some severe case of PTSD, because if you have PTSD and you also drink, that is like the worst cocktail you can imagine, all right? And they go there and like say, all right, we can take him, okay? But he will return, all right? We cannot press like any possible charges against him because like he didn't attack you or something. He was just like threatening you, all right? And the woman keeps calling police every single time he gets drunk because she's afraid that he starts like beating her or, for example, attacking her with the kitchen knife, all right? But when you say, for example, that we're going to arrest the dude, she says, not arrest, but detain. She says, no, please don't do that. So, like, what are we supposed to do? You know, my God. And especially when, you know, like, if veterans are involved. Because, again, you cannot treat a veteran like any other civilian, because they have different experience. A lot of them have PTSD. You have to have different approach to them. And for example, if policemen arrive on scene and they see a veteran, and there are no veterans among the policemen, for example, right? Like, the guys from the street joined the police academy and got graduated and stuff, and they don't have the military experience. That's like lost cause, all right? That's lost cause, because this dude will never respect you, and he won't even listen to you. And those situations are very much complicated. So, how about beating eggs? Isn't that domestic violence? Beating eggs. So, like, if you go to the chicken coop and you can see, for example, rooster literally killing his children, that counts as domestic violence. But I'm not sure if legislation allows to detain the suspect in this case. Because generally speaking, we kill his children every single day in the morning. So it's hard to answer. If you don't get on, better separate. PTSD is indeed a big issue. I agree on that. But like, I cannot tell, for example, this lady to, you know, you better separate. It's her very own choice. I cannot influence her decisions. So sometimes we witness situations that are very ugly and very, very complicated, and you literally cannot do anything. Talking up how dangerous tomahawks are. They're very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Saying we attacked a narco submarine. I know one guy who was hunting narco submarines. Heard he also traveled to Afghanistan on his submarine. Don't you have therapeutic institutions? We actually do. And we did. However, again, the level they were on before the full-scale invasion was so different from what it is now. And Misty, have a great evening or day, rather day, I believe, in Canada. And hello to the beautiful Canada as well. So it depends. We had some institutions, but not all of them were, for example, state-funded. I don't believe that we had some kind of state program. We had Ministry of Veteran Affairs. I had several friends working there, but I cannot tell you much about that. Literally, we had more attention to veterans back then, but this whole system wasn't developed as much. Now it is kind of developed, but the attention is... I don't think if it's the same as previously, because there are just so many veterans right now, and Starsky cannot even pronounce it. In Ukrainian, it's terapeutyczna. It's even worse. All right. I know it's secret, but was Oreshnik successful, or is it just a propaganda weapon? So we talked about it. That was basically a weapon of mass disinformation, because what they achieved with Oreshnik is basically they hit a bunch of country houses away from that factory that apparently they tried to attack. There's like a bunch of country houses, meaning, for example, you know, when you want to go on a vacation somewhere, all right, and that house doesn't belong to you, you just use it for a vacation, right, for this period, like rent it, for example. Ukrainians have dachas. Dacha is basically a country house. It's a tiny house where you go sometimes when you want to escape, you know, from everyday's life, escape your scolding partner, have a cold one with your friends, or like plant your like weekend house. Yeah, exactly. Plant your beetroots or tomatoes or things like that. And basically there was like a bunch of those weekend houses located in that area, and a bunch of them got damaged by this fucking ICBM, all right, launched at it. I don't know. So the biggest result that they achieved with this ICBM was basically red face of Joe Rogan screaming on his podcast, "Oh my God, we're gonna die. What if this is a nuclear warhead next time? What are those Ukrainians are even thinking about? You know, why they don't just die, you know, finally, and stop, you know, escalating?" I'm sorry, we won't. Is that a cotton? No, it's not a cotton cutie. That's actually Palyanytsia. That's a Ukrainian drone/missile. It's a generous gift from United 24. Yeah, I used my connections to receive this one. Dams are mentally damaged. Well, that's literally his narrative, all right? Like, that's his punchline. Dacha, we have them also here in Schrebergarten, no living, gardening, grilling, and nukes. Yeah. Why aren't Russians sick of this yet? So the answer to this question is Russians are not sick of generally living in shit their whole lives through generations, all right? If you go to places like Omsk and see the condition they're living in, or for example, Yakutia, Buryatia, you will be impressed. You go like on the outskirts of Ulan-Ude, you see people having no sewage, no heating, literally nothing, all right? You go to Siberia, where people are struggling to buy the firewood because they cannot get firewood from the forests, all right? Russian government doesn't allow them to get firewood from the forests, and Russians have like enormous forests located on their territory. But Russians only allow them to buy firewood, of course. So the prices for the firewood in Russia, I believe already last year, they grew something like tenfold. And you see all that poverty, but at the same time, are Russians protesting against that? Of course, no. Because somehow they can survive, somehow, you know, they can find a bottle of vodka and drink, and you know, it will be fine, all right? So they are not sick of that yet, and if we want them to be sick of that very, very fast, we need a lot of Tomahawk missiles. We're talking hundreds. Trump was saying something about like 2,000 Tomahawks for Russia's opposition. We would require several hundred Tomahawks in order to completely obliterate Russian oil refineries and Russian power stations. Then there might be a chance that actually Russians will finally get sick of that. I really don't like the whole strongman culture in the United States. Shouldn't compromise its morals by engaging with it and coming to agreements. Sorry, I went to the White House session. All right. Keep us informed. Fun fact is southern East Siberia and middle of Canada, there are some clusters of UA Dodge. I know that. So the Ukrainian diaspora in Canada, for example, is enormous. I might be wrong saying that it's like 20% of the population, but something like that. Like, it's very big. In Siberia, it's also very big because a lot of Ukrainians were deported to Siberia, to those camps. A lot of people died there, of course. And even my great-great-great-grandpa lost basically his whole family, his daughters, his wife, when he was deported there. He was the only one who survived. Live stream over. Expect there will be another after meeting. Yeah, that's what I think. I think that they will be talking and discussing, tete-a-tete, and then we will hear some kind of decision. I'm looking forward to hearing it today, actually. People are asking, how can Russians tolerate it? Well, now, how are we Americans tolerating it? Yeah, I cannot say much, my dear friends, because all the processes that are taking place in the United States right now and people fighting for freedom of speech and defending their rights is something I will always support and always be with you on that. I will not be advising anything on what to do because you guys know better, all right? But I will always support your fight for freedom and freedom of speech and rights, because that's something worth fighting for. I saw that hysterical response from Rogan. Oh yeah, I still remember that. Oh, that Rogan. Such a tough guy, he has some of the strongest kicks, all right? Like when he kicks, like the roundhouse kick, when he kicks the punching bag, just fucking flies away. Like, the dude is extremely tough, like his shape is really, really good. But the way he screams like a bitch when Russians are launching a fucking ICBM at like a bunch of weekend houses without reaching any result at all, not even significant results, but generally any results at all. But he's like, those fucking people don't know what they do. What if it will be a nuclear warhead? Get real. Ukrainians lived next to Chernobyl for fucking 3 decades. You're not scaring us with that. On the other hand, of course, if something explodes like on the Ukrainian territory, of course, all the shit will go directly to Russia, according to the rules of nature, right? According to the jet streams and everything else, it will go straight to Russia because the winds blow eastwards always. Mm-hmm. Just a second. Okay, my dear family, I will be wrapping up. I would like to stay with you a bit more, but we already spent almost 2 hours speaking, and I also have some domestic things to solve, all right? Rogan equals grown. I like that one. Okay, my dear friends, I'll be switching off. I will see you tomorrow morning. Hopefully, if I wake up, I really hope that I will. We'll see you later. Please, if we missed something today during the stream, please ask your questions in the commentaries. I will definitely answer all of them, even though I don't see all the comments displayed in my YouTube studio for some fucking reason. I don't know what's going on, but I will just literally go myself and check everything. And also, my dear friends, please make sure to check out the video that we published today on the UATV. It's briefly about the situation, about what was happening in Ukraine, and basically what to do in case you're approached by some goons on the internet asking you to do some crazy shit. Please do that. Again, thank you so much for staying with me tonight. Big thanks to all the moderators and, of course, to you, my dear friends. Big thanks to all the supporters of Ukraine and the free world. Thank you so much. We'll see you later and be safe.